and starting a new series on how to counter different ultimate abilities in Dota. We're looking at different heroes, items you can pick up, and just a lot of little different small tricks and strategies you can play against these ultimates. If you haven't played Dota in a while, you haven't kept up with the patch notes, or you're someone you just want to learn something, you might pick up something new, this is something that should help you. First off, we need to know a little bit about Legion. When she gets early duel damage, this allows her not only to farm quicker but snowball easier, meaning that her impact in the first 10 to 20 minutes will greatly reflect her presence later in the game. So be careful when you're making different decisions and anticipate ganks from Legion Commander, and it's really important not to give away that early duel damage. If the gank is on your ally, make sure you have a TP to rotate and hopefully save them in the scenario where you think Legion will be coming for them. An effective and common item on Legion is Blade Mail because of how it combines with Duel. As Blade Mail returns the same damage type as it's dealt, it means you're taking mostly physical damage from Legion Commander during your duel. To counteract this, a good item to build is usually something that has armor, or even picking a hero that has high natural armor like Dragon Knight or Ogre Magi. The first item that comes to mind is Medallion because of how cheap it is. You can keep the armor on yourself without using the activatable, or put it on your ally. This will mitigate some of the damage. There's also the ability later to upgrade it to Solar Crest, which will give you mischance. If you use Yule's Scepter against Legion, she won't be able to attack the target and your ally won't be able to attack them either, meaning that there's no blade mail damage being taken. However, this item, it's quite expensive, and if it doesn't suit your hero in the current match, it actually might be a very expensive way of countering Duel, which will maybe be a detriment to your progression throughout the rest of the game. A cheaper option would be to get Ghost Scepter. If you're quick enough to react, you can use this and go into Ghost form before Legion uses Duel, and it will stop most of the damage from being taken. You can upgrade this later to an E-Blade, but in my opinion it's still quite an expensive item to upgrade to, and a Ghost Scepter is something that's really good if you're falling behind or you don't have damage and Legion is always targeting the supports, because she wants to kill the easiest targets to get damage. However, if you're a core hero, it might be a better option to buy something like a halberd, because not only does it give you evasion and more health, but it allows you to disable Legion from attacking. It disarms her. Unless she has BKB, then the activatable of halberd is not that effective. One of the most common items that's bought against Legion is Lincolns, and when you have like 2 or 3 Lincolns in your team, it ends up being really hard for Legion to find anyone to kill. However, this build can be kind of off the track of what you would normally go, and good Legion players end up buying halberd themselves because it gives her more strength, which is more damage because she's a strength hero, but it also breaks the Lincolns before she casts her Duel. One last note on items that you can build is when you get Mechanism, build the Buckler first because it gives you armor and you can give the armor to your allies. Now Mechanism and Greaves are still a pretty good item against Legion because it gets her to underestimate how much damage it takes to kill the hero. So now that I've covered most of the items for countering Legion, we'll look at heroes. So if you're in a match and you've seen a Legion commander being picked, what do you pick to counteract that or to respond to the Legion commander pick? Abaddon is pretty hard to kill with his ultimate, and the only way that Legion can kill him during his duel is either his ultimate is off cooldown or she uses Solar Crest to prevent his ultimate from proccing. But even at this, his shield is pretty good at preventing your allies from dying, and he also has a heal which you can target your allies too. I've often seen low to middle skill players underestimate Abaddon's potential throughout the game to save his allies. So with Legion, this could be really effective. However, if you want to be really annoying to this Legion player, you can pick Bane, because Nightmare will stall Duel. It will bounce it back and forth. It's pretty funny to watch. But even at that, you have Fiend's Grip, which disables Legion through BKB. And if she gets Aghanim's, she's like BKB'd as well, but you can disable her through that as well with Bane's ultimate. And you also have Enfeeble, which reduces Legion's damage. So this makes it harder for her to do stuff in lane or play aggressive. Because a lot of the time when you pick Legion, you want to be able to purge off different debuffs or different abilities and so forth. But you can't do that with Enfeeble because it's not purgeable by Legion's second spell. Oracle is also up there with one of the most annoying counters to Legion, as he can completely prevent an ally from losing a duel with his ultimate. However, I don't really recommend picking a hero solely to counter Legion if you can't play it properly. And do take that into account. It's really important to pick heroes that you can play. While Visage is being duelled, you can still use your familiars to stun Legion, and Gravekeeper's Cloak will help lower a lot of the incoming damage throughout most parts of the games because it's percentage based. I mentioned earlier that Mechanism and Abaddon's Heal are quite useful against Legion's duel. However, there's so many heals in the game that I'm just going to highlight the most effective ones. You have Winter Wyvern's Heal, which prevents the ally being attacked and prevents them attacking, so you do like literally only magical damage during that point, and if Legion doesn't have anyone there to help her, your ally is going to survive because Legion does mostly physical damage, and you want to aim towards not giving away this dual damage early on. You've Treant Protector, you've Global Heal, you prevent a number of damage instances, and you also have Dazzle's Shallow Grave, but you need to make sure that you always have a TP and rotate. As I said earlier, TP rotations are really important to save your allies, and if that's the way that you want to strategize against Legion, go ahead, pick Dazzle, one of the better supports for rotating and saving your allies from their death. Another great way is to hide your ally. You can use Disruption or Astral Imprisonment and even Tusk's Snowball to hide your ally during duel. However, when you're doing this, Legion will now start targeting you. If you're playing Shadow Demon, Legion's going to be going after you because you're the one that's going to save them. You're the one that Legion needs to disable. So make sure that you look at items and how you strategize against Legion. I would recommend a Go Scepter and being able to react quickly if you are playing something like Shadow Demon. I mentioned earlier that Solar Crest is really good because of its evasion, but there's quite a lot of heroes who have evasion built into them themselves, such as Brewmaster, Riki, Keeper of the Light, Arc Warden, PA, and there's probably even more than that. I can't even think of all of them, but all of these heroes have abilities that will prevent Legion from hitting all of her attacks. The heroes that synergize really well with Legion are burst damage heroes such as Nyx, Tinker, Line, Lina, Skyrat Mage, etc. These can all help secure kills, and if you see these heroes farming out of position, a lot of the time Legion might be sitting behind them or even standing in the trees beside them, and she's just waiting for you to go on them, so she'll blink and duel. This is just a really good example of a bait, and you need to be aware that when these heroes are on their own, sometimes Legion is there with them. Other heroes that synergize really well are ones with global abilities such as Invoker, Zeus, Nature's Prophet. These heroes can easily combo and gank you from almost anywhere on the map, so make sure that you anticipate these things as well when you're farming somewhere aggressively or that you know that Legion is coming to gank you. There's 3 Agonal upgrades which will end duel immediately or preemptively, whichever way you want to say it. You can use Slark's Shadow Dance, save your ally. Phoenix's Supernova, cast it on your ally. And same with Lifestealer's Ultimate, you can cast it on an ally and it ends it too. The duel will also end immediately if the 2 units are more than 2000 units apart, meaning that you can use IO and tether them and relocate them away. This will end the duel. However, if you use Earth Spirit Stone and you kick your ally away or even the enemy away, you don't get enough distance to end the duel. But make sure you don't use Force Staff or Hurricane Pike on your ally because it doesn't do anything, it wastes the cooldown and uses the mana. This distance is quite big and you can see it from like the video that there's a very large radius to this. 2000 units is a lot. To give you a perspective, Blink Dagger is 1250 units at maximum range. I hope you liked this video. Make sure you subscribe because I'm going to upload a lot more frequently in 2018. And sorry I didn't upload that much in December, I was quite busy over the Christmas.